At the time of recording this video, the Wave 2 of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was released, but announced, not released, but whatever. So I feel like, I know it's been a few months and I do apologize, but I needed to, I need a reason to get back into Mario Kart. Sometimes it gets a bit, I don't know, it gets tough even though you're talking about Mario Kart, it's Mario Kart, but you need the motivation too, and I think this is a good one. Also to exploit the algorithm, maybe, who knows. So, Mario Kart Double Dash. This is a very unique game. I think you already know why, especially on the double side of things. But there is more to that. There's far more to that. Historically wise, like chronologically wise, blah, 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 we return to 3D. But more 3D than 64. 64 had its 3D tracks, which was already very impressive for the console. But now we have even more 3D because the characters are actually 3D this time. They're not the Donkey Kong Country-esque sprites, they're actual models, and they are absolutely GameCube-y. Oh my god, when you up the resolution in this game, mama. Jesus, Donkey Kong looks like a Lego brick. But obviously this was the GameCube. I'm not saying the game looks bad, far from it actually. It's very colorful, very detailed and very beautiful. It's just really funny when you up resolution in these old games and some stuff starts to show up. What's even funnier is that when this game was announced or unveiled, it was like, oh yeah guys, new Mario Kart for the GameCube. They actually used Mario and Luigi on regular Mario 64 carts, which are not present in this game, we'll talk about that later. They're not present here. But they use melee models, like Mario and Luigi's melee models, which I always thought, looking back, that was really funny. I get why. Obviously they were announcing it, they didn't have much developed yet. They wanted to showcase what a Mario Kart GameCube very beta state will be. And they did. And it's fucking hilarious. Also, Luigi's L is backwards on the box art. That's also a fun fact about this game. You probably never heard of that before. No other YouTuber ever mentioned that bit. This game's funny, and we're not even talking about the game. But let's talk about the core thing first. Let's just get straight into the core thing. I'll talk about tracks, characters, and everything else later. But I want to get into the core thing right now that everyone knows about Double Dash. You play as double people. So you pick your character. But then you can pick another character. So you have two characters per car, which means you can swap around them. You can have two items at once. That's why sometimes you'll see two item blocks together. That's basically, instead of you having to swap around with the Z button, and then, your free-handed character grabs an item box, then you C button, and your other character grabs an item box, so you have two items. Instead of doing that, you can just go through the two item box, which is often placed in more complicated places for you to get, because it's like, we'll spare you the switch, and we'll get this reward, but you have to go a little bit out of your way to get it. That's fair, that makes sense. But yeah, the double mechanic, I think it adds a lot of strategy and difficulty to the game, really. Getting back to this one after playing the other three was, obviously it's still Mario Kart, right? It's not rocket science, but bearing in mind the other character, being like, okay, I need to be optimal with this, swap this character. I don't think swapping characters makes the cars faster. Like, let's say if I pick Baby Luigi compared to Bowser, I don't think Baby Luigi goes faster, because that's ultimately up to the car. But bearing in mind the idea of the item, the special items too, which I will talk about. It was very interesting. It made the game harder. Not in a bad way, but it was definitely harder than just, I'm driving around. Oh, I got an insane advantage. Okay, I'll take advantage of it. No. I always had to stay sharp, stay strategizing, and I love that. I would love to see this formula return in some form or fashion. Not as a full game, maybe. Like, I don't mind if nowadays you can definitely do a single kart and double dash mode. So I feel like that should return in some form or capacity. Maybe Mario Kart 9 could bring that if that ever happens, unless a booster pass 2 happens, I don't know. But I will love this mode to return because it adds a lot to Mario Kart. It makes it more interesting. Mario Kart is already interesting, but this adds more. You can always make it more interesting. What's really funny is that it also lends to a lot of customization. Not in a Mario Kart 8 sense of customization, but in a personality sense of customization. You can create your typical pairs, you can create your controversial pairs, or you can just create a demonic hellspawn of a pair that you have never thought of before, no one else has even dared to touch, and you just said, yeah, why not, I can roll with this. Not to mention, picking the different pairs will also affect your item pool. Like you got your typical items, of course, but each character has a special item, which give me a few minutes. But this has a lot of strategy as well, not only during the track, but before that. What items do you want? More defensive items? Do you want more clutch items? Do you want more offensive items? Do you want an all-around item? What do you want more, like 2 special items? Or just 1 special item? Because each character has its pair, right? Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, and so on. So if you pick Mario and Luigi, you'll only get their special item. But if you pick Mario and Donkey Kong, you'll get 2 sets of special items. Depends on the pool and luck and whatever, but the choice is there, the opportunity is there. So it adds a lot of personality and freedom and customization to Mario Kart, which I think is very, very good. Yeah, but it's cool, you got pairs, you got whatever, but who are you even... Oh fuck, I spoiled Daisy already. Damn it. Okay, yeah. So you got the same roster as Mario 64, but expanded naturally. Since every character has to have their own pair, that means you will have to create characters. Which, funnily enough, I didn't know this before making this video. Toadette spawned in this game. I thought she was a Mario Tennis 64 creation, but then playing Mario Tennis 64, I'm like, where's Toadette? And then I was like, it must be Mario Power Tennis, but she's not in that game either. And then I was like, okay, when the fuck was Toadette spawned? Mario Kart Double Dash. And I was just shocked. I don't know, but she's here. But yeah, the Mario 64 roster is here. You know, the classic 8 we've seen in 64 and Super Circuit. Koopa Troopa's back from Super Nintendo Mario Kart. And then we have new characters, not new to the franchise outside of Toadette, but they're new to Mario Kart, which is kind of shocking. I guess it makes sense, since a lot of these characters spawned in the 2000s. I guess you could put them in Mario Kart Super Circuit, but I think the game was already being developed by that time. Plus the Game Boy Advance maybe had a memory issue with that. But yeah, Daisy, Waluigi, Bowser Jr., Petey Piranha and King Boo as unlockables. Toad and Toadette are also unlockable for some reason, but okay. Toad unlockable is kinda odd for me, but that's okay. And then Baby Mario and Baby Luigi, since, you know, Yoshi's Island was huge for some reason. Like, yeah, it came out like years ago from Double Dash release, but Nintendo really liked the Yoshi's Island representation. Mario Golf also had Baby Mario. Mario Tennis had Baby Mario. So yeah, I guess they took the opportunity and just put them there. Oh, also Birdo for Yoshi's pair, because I guess Yoshi has to have a pair and they just ran out of ideas, I suppose? I don't know. Oh yeah, and Diddy Kong for Donkey Kong, obvious. Of course. That one just makes sense. I don't know what you want me to say. But yeah, all the pairs make sense here. Every single one of them. Every single one of them, especially Pete Piranha King Boo. I think the only thing they have in common is they were Sunshine bad guys, and the Sunshine Boo is arguably King Boo. Some people say it's not King Boo, and I can sort of see it since the design is different, but the Boos overall in that game are different, so I think he's King Boo, just trying new faces, you know. So why are there so many characters? Why is the roster so big outside of, oh, we are on the GameCube, we got the power? Well, first off, why the fuck is Paratroopa here? That might be your first question, and it's a very valid question, but Koopa needs a partner. Could be a Hammer Bro, but yeah, Paratroopa is fine. So, as I mentioned, each character is designed to have their own pair. So it's like, the top row is the main character from the pair, let's say, and the bottom row is their pair. So it's, again, Mario and Luigi, Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong. So every single one on the top, the bottom one will be their partner. This affects both the cars you can get and the item pool, as I mentioned before. So if you choose what the game calls light, medium, and heavy, because those are still here, even though they're not as emphasized, they're still here. Well, actually, they might be a bit more emphasized since they affect the car you get. So depending on the characters you pick, you'll have a different selection of cars. You'll have, if you pick babies or lightweight characters, let's say Baby Mario and Koopa, they're small characters. So they'll get smaller cards, so they will be faster, lighter, and so on. If you pick medium characters like Mario and Yoshi, you'll get bigger cars, but not huge cars, you know? But obviously if you pick a heavy character, then yeah, they need to accommodate to their size. So you will get heavier cards, like Bowser's car or Wario's car, which I love Wario's car. I love it. So good to see it being represented. But yeah, if you're more of a modern Mario Kart player, you'll notice that this is the first game to introduce different cars outside of just the go-karts you used to see in the other 3 games. They're not as free as it will later become, because again, it depends on the characters you pick. If you pick the babies, you will not be able to pick a big car. If you pick the heavies, you will not be able to pick a smaller car. Maybe you want a faster car, but not as heavy. You kinda can't do that, which makes sense in a way, because you can't fit Donkey Kong in a trolley, obviously. But I think it's a good start to give variety and options to the player. I think this game does a lot for player customization, player choice, and player option. Like before, it was you had the weight differences, and if you know Mario Kart 64, let's say for example, if you know that game back to back, you know, oh, Toad's the fastest character, or Yoshi, or whatever, I don't know, sorry. But now, first off, you have the stats, like in Super Circuit, but you also have the item management issue. Well, not issue, the situation. It's not an issue at all, it's actually pretty cool. Again, like I mentioned, Mario, if you pick Mario and Luigi, if you just like fireballs, you pick both of them to make sure you will only get special items as fireballs. If you want more of an offensive and defensive, then you pick Mario and Donkey Kong. Mario's fireballs is an all-around item, and Donkey Kong's big-ass banana is very defensive. If you think you're kinda bad at the game, you can go with Baby Mario and Baby Luigi, and the chomp works as the modern bullet bill. Somewhat. We'll get to it. So there is a lot of choice, a lot of ideas to have here. You could say this kind of ruins the idea of, oh, but I only pick the character I want because I like Luigi, but Luigi's item kind of sucks in this game. So I get that you can have that, but I think at the end of the day Mario Kart is just pick the character you like. This just adds a little bit more for those people that really want to be like, yeah, but that item is so much better than the other item. Which is fine, I think they're catering to both audiences, I think that's pretty cool. Which is surprising, since I know Melee is very competitive too, but then they took the approach of not being competitive with Melee, so that's funny. Yeah, I got Melee in a video, woo! Anyway, as much as I talked about items and personal character items, which again, they're very cool, very chaotic, very fun, the actual item pool, like the items everyone can share, this selection is kind of pathetic, not gonna lie. This is very short. Like, I'm looking at this picture right now, there's 6 overall items for everyone to share. Compared to 64 and Super Circuit, I know the difference isn't that huge, but you're falling off, man. I understand you have more. You'll not even notice during the game because there are always items flying around. Since you have 2 characters, 2 chances to have items, plus special items that are very flashy, very huge, very noticeable. There's no way you don't notice them. You don't feel this issue, but when you're looking at it, it's like, okay, what items do we have? Everyone. What if I'm Mario? Okay, what items do I have outside of my fire flower? So I got green shell, single green shell, single red shell, single banana. The surprise box comes back, which is always neat to see. I like that in this one, the further you are, the more real it looks like an item box, but when you get close it turns red and it's like, oh shit! you dodge. It's pretty cool. I like having fun with these videos, can you tell? Then single mushroom. Yeah, all the items I mentioned are all single. You might be wondering, oh, where's the triple mushroom? Where's the triple shell? Where are they? I'll get to it. And finally the blue shell, which it's starting. It's getting close because it flies now. Compared to 64, you know, it used to go on the ground. Now it's flying to make sure you are hitting the first place. So this is where it started. For those of you that know, it started here, and I will argue it's the worst one that we will talk about later, some other time. The worst one, and then this game. In this game you get blue shelled a lot as well. Not as much, but you also get blue shelled a lot, because again, the chances of having 2 characters, even though there are still 8 cars, it means there are 16 characters on the track. So that's 16 possible items that can be thrown if everyone has an item. That means the blue shell chances are kinda big. I don't know if items can repeat, like let's say I'm driving Mario and Luigi. I don't think both Mario and Luigi can get a blue shell at the same time. I don't think you can have 2 blue shells. I don't think items repeat. Let's say you don't get 2 red shells, I think the item is always different from my experience. But still, the odds are there. The odds for 16 characters. Let's say 2 get a blue shell. That's 2 blue shells on the track. That's huge. I don't know if that can happen, but that would be huge. If it's possible, it is possible. I don't know. It's getting there, man. The blue shell, it's getting there. So as I mentioned, the items, while they still have their place, obviously, it is Mario Kart, they will always have their place, right? Regardless of if you have 2 items or 20. But the general pool of items did take a severe hit. Especially since now you can't really put them behind you. Like in 64, like even in Super Mario Kart, I get those 2 confused a lot. Not because, oh, they look so similar. No, the names are just confusing sometimes. Especially since those are the Mario Kart games that I don't really know a lot about. And, you know, Super into Mario Kart, it can get a bit confusing. But anyway, so you could hold the items behind you. Let's say you had a green shell, right? You didn't want to shoot it, but you wanted a shield of some capacity. And you could hold the green shell behind you, and sometimes it will protect you. Bananas especially were a very good defense mechanism. Now, I don't know if your character is trying to be flashy, or it just didn't work animation-wise to have a character hanging from the car and placing the item behind them. But you can't really use items to defend yourself that well. Now, this is also adding to what I said about being a bit of a harder game. The idea, like, let's say someone throws a red shell at you. In the previous games, you just hold the banana and the banana will tank it and you're good to go. Here you have to time it, which admittedly is not difficult, right? But it's definitely harder than just, yeah, I'll hold Z for a little bit and it will hit the item and I'll just continue to do my life. No, here you have to time it. It's like, okay, I have a banana. I can see the red shell. It's close to me. Okay, throw the banana now. And you throw it and you do get protected, but you can't... You need that reaction time, which adds to a little bit to the strategy and difficulty. Which is good, I like this. But I will admit it can be a bit off-putting to certain players. Either modern players going to this game because this is one of the most unique Mario Kart, so they might be like, oh, let's try that one. Or from older players coming to this one, it's like, oh, I can't do this like I could in Mario 64, why am I playing this? So, you have that swap that I like it on the sense of strategy and difficulty. I always like when Mario games get a bit harder. But on the other hand, it's like, man, this is a bit unfair. It's like, okay, I know I'm in first place, I know I have to get shit. But there's already an item dedicated to getting shit in first place, because of the blue shell. And all the other items you have, trust me, they're not... The special items, it's not like, oh, you got a 5% chance of getting a special item. No. Special items will show up. If you're racing in this game, you will see the special items. And I will mention them now. But special items, as I mentioned, they're flashy and huge. So trust me, there are ways to hitting the guy ahead of you. I don't think the the removal of holding an item behind you to protect yourself was needed, but I appreciate the difficulty and strategy. I'm in a bit of a mixed bag there. But the reason why I mentioned the idea of the special items that you're like, oh, how am I supposed to hit the guy ahead of me if they can just hold the item? Well, trust me, special items don't give a shit if you were holding a banana behind you. Trust me, these items, they will not care if you had a banana behind you. So let's start nice and easy. We got the Mario Bros first off. As I mentioned before, they do have fireballs, red and green respectively. My boy getting his own fireballs, he's so cute. But they basically work, let's say, imagine you throw 5 green shells ahead of you, but they will bounce around and they're not as strong as shells though. So you get a diverse sprout of shots. They bounce around, you can either shoot them forward or backwards. They bounce around and stuff. But if they hit someone, they'll just spin on place, they will not like fall off and the character's hanging, because sometimes the character, if they get too hard, they'll start hanging from back while you're driving and they'll try to get back on the car. So it's not like a huge hit, so that's why it's like a lesser green shell. But the idea is you're compensating that power with quantity, and I think it's a good average item. If I were making a tier list, I would put this in like B. I think it's a good average item, which makes sense, you know, it's Mario and Luigi, they're like the most all-around average characters you can have in these quote-unquote sports games. Peach and Daisy, they have a very good, in my opinion, defensive option. So they spawn hearts, which basically work as the 3 shells used to work in 64. You cannot shoot them though, but they work as a shield. So when you, let's say, someone shoots a fireball or red shell or something at you, the one heart will tank it, and then you'll have 2 hearts, and then 1, and so on. So you basically have 3 shields, which I think is a very good defensive item. Each item, it depends on their function. It depends, their probability will get higher or lower depending on your position, obviously. They're still items. But I think you can actually get this one like in second, third place, so I think it's good. I think it's a good way of defending yourself if you're at the top. Yoshi and Birdo. The only reason I think these two were partnered together, because I don't think... I think retroactively people are like, oh yeah, Yoshi, he hits it with Birdo, they're cool. I think it was spawned through this game, I don't think ever before it was mentioned. I haven't played Yoshi's Island, so maybe there was something there that I didn't know. But as far as I know, Birdo is just in Mario 2, and USA Mario 2 at that matter. But yeah, they both fire an egg, which works basically as a single red shell, you know, it homes on you. But the funny thing is, when it hits you, 3 items spawn out of that egg, and those items can be very good. There can be a star there. Oh yeah, stars are also in this game. I don't know why this list doesn't mention stars. But stars are in the game. So yeah, you can actually get a star, get a mushroom. Sometimes there will be a banana there. So I think this item is very good offensively and in the long term, because it's like if everyone ignores the items you left there, you're like, okay, so I shot the egg here, I remember this, or you can just backtrack if there is a star and get it. You will compensate with the speed the star gives you, not to mention the invincibility. And the items that the egg has, I don't think they rotate according to what your position is. So let's say you're in second, you hit the first place with an eggshell, you can easily get a star off that eggshell. I think this item is very good. This will go in like an A tier if I were making a tier list. That actually sounds like a good idea, maybe Sunday on stream. Bowser Shell, oh boy, do you want a bullshit item. So this is basically a green shell, so you know, it doesn't home on anyone, it just goes around and around. But the Bowser Shell is kind of big. And if you're in a track that has walls, like a very narrow route, and you have walls, that thing's going to bounce around and around, and it's not going to be very forgiving. So you know how I mentioned the characters sometimes they get hit super hard and they start to tumble, and while you're driving your characters there, they're yelling, they start yelling and they try to get back on the car. This shell makes sure that your character will tumble, the one behind you will tumble. So it hits pretty hard, And it does take a lot, it does punch. And you can actually get this item like second and third, so... Yeah. If you like Bowser, boy, does this game like you. Wario and Waluigi get a Bob-omb, which I think it's really cool how during the GameCube and Wii era, these two... Their item basically became the Bob-omb. Like Mario has the Mushroom or Fire Flower. No, Wario and Waluigi just have a bomb. I think that's pretty cool. And it works like, just as you know from the future games. You throw it either ahead or behind you and it will create an explosion. It's basically a blue shell level explosion, but obviously either you throw it forward or backwards. It will not home on the first guy. I think it's decent. I was never good at Bob-omb usage in Mario Kart, but I think it's a decent item. And you get it with relative frequency, so yeah. A giant, big banana. I hate this item, man. Like, I know, if you're in a narrow track again, then yeah, it can be a problem, but I hate this item, man. It's just a big banana. I prefer the bowling bananas from 64. I always will prefer the bowling bananas from 64, but come on, man. I know it's Donkey Kong, I know it's the Kongs, I know, they're monkeys, I know. Big banana, it's just... not make it maybe 3 bigger banana, like 3 big bananas, but not as big as this banana. I don't know, man. Just... This item's lame as hell. Or maybe I'm jealous because of my banana. Oh, the babies! The babies get a funny one. They get the chain chomp. So this is the precursor to the bullet bill. And it's worse than the bullet bill. Again, it does play the game for you. It does, you can, I will say you can sit back and relax, but you actually can't. Because you can actually get hit during your chain chomp journey. You're holding to the chain chomp, he goes insane, he goes further and further fast. But if you get hit by whatever, and I do mean whatever, let's say the chain jump takes a sharp turn, your character will try to hang on, and they go flying into banana, you lost the chain jump just keeps moving and you're on your own. So this item can be very shit if you're in a very shitty position. You know how people complain about the bullet bill, they're like, oh, he's like an Uber driver, he just drops you whatever. Yeah, no, this is worse. He just drops you whenever something even dares to happen to the chain jump, he just drops you. He keeps going on the track, so he becomes a hazard, but he drops you. So the point is, you will carry me further because I'm really I'm really behind. You just leave me like that, huh? Why? So yeah, the bullet bill does an infinitely better job than this one. It's a good item, but it's not the bullet bill. Bullet bill, that boy's crazy. So, you know how I mentioned each shell that shows up in the general pool is a single shell? Well, guess where the fuck the triple shell went? Yeah, guess who has the triple shells? Who hoarded the triple shells for themselves? Guess who did it? Yeah, not a very special item, is it? When you take it from the general pool and give them to 2 specific characters, and this is not the only time that happens. Because guess who has the golden mushroom? Guess who hoarded the golden mushrooms like the fucking pieces of shit they are? Toad! To that, my buddies, you are unlockable. You had the golden mushroom locked. And you have it yourselves and only for yourselves. You are pieces of shit. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this choice. The idea of taking the general pool items that 64 made and giving them to specific characters, not a big fan of that. I appreciate each character for having their own special item. I know I mentioned the strategy, the customization, I love all of that. But I don't like that these 2 items got taken from the pool and given to just 2 specific characters. I'm not a big fan of that. Even though the other items are pretty cool, like again, Bowser Shell, that's a really funny one. But I don't like it. I think you're removing possibilities from the player if you're taking items that used to be there and just giving them to 2. You added a lot of choices to compensate for that. I do think the balance is actually positive, but that doesn't mean I still don't like this. As much as you can choose, not a big fan. What's funny is that if you want everything all at once, Petey Piranha and King Boo are your shot, because they I don't know if this was crunching for time, or this is because they're the last pair you unlock. You unlock only Toad and Toadette and King Boo and Piri Piranha, so it's just 2 pairs, but maybe it's because you have to do a lot of shit to unlock them, or I don't know why. But whenever you play as them, you can get any special item. And I do mean any. Any of the ones I just listed, you can get any of them. I think it depends on your placing. Obviously, I don't think you can get a chain jumping first, but you can get any special item. So they're the jack of all trades. They're lovely. They're very, very lovely. They're actually kind of sick. I like them. So I know I spent a lot of time on the items, but that's because the items are actually huge in this game. Again, 16 players, you will see items flying all over the place. That's why I wanted to get it a bit more in detail with the items. And overall, I know I mentioned the choice, I mentioned the strategy. I love that you get more choice with your items, but it's still a bit limiting. It's still a bit... obviously, I'm not saying, oh, just make all the special items into regular items. Of course not. But the fact that they are not available for everyone can be a bit limiting. I value the choice, I appreciate it a lot, and I think it's very good. It advances positively. But it still shows a little bit of limit, and it narrows the possibilities of the player a little bit. It's very expansive, but at the same time it can be a bit limiting, especially with the triple shells and golden mushroom situation. And not to mention the only 7 regular items, which I know doesn't sound like a big deal, and it isn't a big deal when you're actually playing, but reading it kind of hits you different. Now that you have 2 characters per car, again I mentioned the swapping mechanic, and that each character can have an item. That means a lot of the tracks will be very chaotic regardless of their design. Not that I won't get into track design, because I will. Spoilers are very good, but the idea of having 2 characters and all of them being able to get items means you will see items flying around, as I mentioned, which means the game is very chaotic, which means items are really helpful, which means I think we hit the mark of where Mario Kart started to take that turn into the more modern sense most of you must be familiar with. Before, I'm not saying that it was just, oh, you have to try hard to get first, but items were there to help you, and that's it. Here, items can actually win for you. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know, and I don't really care. It's Mario Kart, so as long as I'm having fun, I don't mind. But you can see a difference. If you're bleeding last in 64, it will take you a while to get back to first. If you're bleeding last in Double Dash, you have several ways of getting ahead. Either items, your special items, your drifting, your boosting, you have your chances. I'm not saying the game plays for you. We're not there yet. We're not in the bullet bill yet. But if you get a bullet bill, you do get, you're in last, so you do need it. But you can trust items more. If you felt like the older games were like, oh no, this is a bit difficult because I don't have my items, here you'll have your items, no doubt in my mind. So I think we are hitting that threshold of the old formula. Again, Mario Kart's formula hasn't changed a lot, but you can tell there's a difference between the older and the newer Mario Karts. I think this is the barrier. This is where Mario Kart transformed. Do I mind? No, not at all. I love all of Mario Kart. So yeah, I think I love chaos. So I think this is very good. Oh, by the way, before we move from items, you can steal other players' items. That's really funny. So if let's say you have a character driving and the one on back, it has his hands free, and you bump into another player that their character on the back does have an item in their hand, because you do hold the items in your hand, you physically hold them. You can just bump them, they'll drop it, and you can grab it. That's really funny. And it doesn't matter if it's a special item or anything. If they have it on their hand, they have not used it. GG's idiot, that item's mine. I think that's really funny. So let's move from items, because I did talk a long time about items, but you will see them a lot in this game, so I wanted to give them the attention and the time. So let's talk about the stages, let's talk about where you actually race. Which, let me tell you right now, no, There are not 40 tracks like in Super Circuit. I know, that's a bit sad, but that will take insane amounts of time and development to make, which I don't think Nintendo had at the time. So, disappointing, but I think the tracks we do get do very much compensate for the idea of not having Super Mario Kart tracks here. I think that's fine. So we're going back to the 64 formula. 4 cups, 4 tracks, most of them 3 laps, most of them. There are not any new, like any old tracks being renewed, remade, and every stage, and I do mean every stage, even the most basic bitch Mushroom Cup stage, has a hazard. Hazards are everywhere. So this is Mario Kart Double Chaos, Mario Kart Double Hazard. This is, you can get shot on from a lot of corners in this game. Do I mind? No, I think Mario Kart should be chaotic and fun. I think the difficulty should come from the chaos you're facing. It shouldn't be bullshit that you're getting hit by anything like 15 seconds straight and you can't even move, because that does not happen here, so that's good. They're not going overboard with it. But there are hazards everywhere, and you might be thinking, nah, Fran, actually you're wrong, because Baby Park doesn't have a hazard. Bitch, have you seen Baby Park? It's a circle, it's an oval. And some people hate it because it's just an oval, but let me tell you, this oval is insanely good. You know what the hazard is in Baby Park? The fact that there are no walls behind what side you're on? That means something like the Bowser shell can bounce around the entire track. So you got your hazards there, there are items everywhere in this track. The hazards are the items, the hazard is you! You are the hazard in Baby Park. And you might be thinking, Fran, well, what's the hazard in Rainbow Road, for example? This Rainbow Road doesn't seem too bad. No, it's rough. It's very unpolished, actually. Like, some turns here, you can just fall off. And the fact that it's Rainbow Road is already the hazard itself. So, yeah, there are hazards in each track. Even, yeah, Luigi's Circuit has a chain jump, that's not a big deal, but chain jump is there. Also, in Luigi's Circuit, again, you don't have a wall limiting what side you're going, so you can just bump into someone that's in last, you can make them eat shit. Like Baby Park, which is good. I guess that's my hot take, I don't know. I know Baby Park isn't loved by many, but I love Baby Park. I think it's great. Yeah, tracks are really good in this game. They're very good visually, they're very good design-wise. They're, again, since we're back to 3D, as I mentioned in the beginning, that means we get the detail from 64, but obviously this is a superior console to the 64 in terms of graphic power, so we get more detail, we get more stuff in the background, more stuff happening during the track, we get more hazards, we get more interesting tracks, we get more interesting design. Since the GameCube can actually do that, and since the team already had experience with 3D through the 64, they could make new, more interesting tracks. 64 sometimes, as much as I like the tracks there are some tracks that you're like, yeah, this is just... nothing's happening here. Like, the design's cool, but... the design's good, but nothing's happening here. Here, no, you will always get something going. There's a dinosaur in one of the tracks. I think that's lovely. The 64 could not have done that. They tried with the Cheep Cheep going over you, but... that Cheep Cheep never did anything. It has a there's a dinosaur here, and there is a track based on Yoshi's body. And there are very cool shortcuts, especially in this track, but there are shortcuts and stuff. We're back to interesting designs. Fuck you, Super Circuit. That game was good, but fuck you, Super Circuit. I'm happy to say these tracks... it's hard to make a bad Mario Kart track, but these tracks, outside of nailing quality, they do nail a lot of depth and uniqueness. You can look at the GameCube tracks. Even though some of them do have a forest, even though some of them do have the ice track. But let me tell you, that ice track, oh my god, that ice track. That's the best song in Mario Kart history. Well, no, Rainbow Road 64 is the best song in Mario Kart history, but this one has the second one. This song, dude, every time I listen to this song... oh yeah, the music's good overall. You might actually know this song from some memes.
Go back! I want to be monkey!
But then this song just hits me personally, dude. I dance to this song. In fact, but yeah, yeah. So again, going back to the tracks, they're very good, but they're also very diverse. They're very unique. They manage to get out. They managed to use the GameCube to its fullest and create very detailed tracks, very interesting tracks, very diverse tracks that you can be like, oh yeah, that's Dino Jungle. Oh yeah, that's Yoshi's Circuit because it looks like Yoshi. So I know I go back to those two, but those two are like the ones that stood out to me the most. And also the interesting thing here is that the tracks, as I mentioned, most of them do have 3 laps. But then you have stuff like, again, Baby Park has 7 because it's so small. But then you have stuff like Wario Stadium, which it's a huge track, but given that it's so huge, it only has 2 laps, which I thought was very interesting. It's like, if it had 3 laps, let's say, as much as I love it, Rainbow Road 64, it's a long-ass track, and it has 3 laps, so sometimes it can get a bit boring. So here they were like, okay, let's avoid that, and just make it 2 laps. And Rainbow Road is longer than Wario Stadium, so you can... They saw Rainbow Road's length, they said make that shorter. This is still shorter but still long, so make it 2 laps. And I think it balances out very well with the track layout, the track design, and the lap count in Wario Stadium specifically. As I mentioned, this might be the hardest Mario Kart game, because of the strategy and all the items and the hazards and all that stuff going around. But that doesn't mean the game's difficult. Like, I don't think the game is super hard. I think it's actually very well balanced amongst all the chaos that can happen, which is very surprising. I was not expecting that. But it's very interesting that you can have this much stuff going on and your game feels fair in some capacity, as fair as Mario Kart can be, obviously. But it's very fun, it's very interesting. It's a Mario Kart game, everyone can play it. But I would say it's one of the hardest Mario Kart games. Hardest in quotation marks, again. If we're talking about like a regular game, I think it's normal difficulty, maybe. Slightly tipping too easy because it's Mario Kart, but yeah, it's very well balanced. So don't be afraid. I know I mentioned this might be the hardest Mario Kart, whatever. But don't be afraid. Do give this a try if you want to try it. It's... But yeah. You don't be intimidated by difficulty is what I mean. That's what I wanted to say. Especially because, as much as the AI is a bit insane with all the items, obviously 14 people, if you're playing single player, 14 people are after your ass. So AI can be a bit insane, but there is not a lot of rubber banding in this game, I noticed. They do approach you fairly. They use the items, they use drifting, they use everything you can do to approach you. They don't use any weird advantages, they don't spawn items out of their ass, they don't rubber band into halfway through the track. Obviously rubber banding will always exist in Mario Kart, but this feels fair. Again, this feels very fair. It feels like they're using the mechanics of the game in a very reasonable way. And I know they're just computers, but it feels like a challenge, like a decent challenge, a challenge I can approach, a challenge that is approaching me in a reasonable, non-controller breaking manner. I know getting hit by red shells over and over might be a bit annoying, but they're using the game mechanic. They're not just, it's not just a red shell and then they skyrocket because they had rubber banding. No, it feels, you know, in a weird way, it feels like you're playing with people. And that's always good. It's always good to give the single player that sense of having friends when they don't have any. You can tell all this footage is single player, isn't it? Yeah, imagine why. I've been deceived. You've been seeing multiplayer footage all this time. I got friends. I could play Mario Kart on multiplayer. Woo! Friendship. Now we get to the good bits. Now this is the part that, as much as I would like to think otherwise, this and DS will be probably the last times I focus so much in controls. You can tell this video is not mostly about controls like the others were, because I did have more criticisms in the other ones, but this one, man, they nailed it. Modern Mario Kart is born here through the controls. Controls in this game, again, we're back to an analog stick, so that can help. But the GameCube controller, man, this controller is beautiful for this console. And this controller, man, they knew how to use this controller. So analog stick, it's very interesting because obviously you can drift, right? But if you just turn with the analog stick, you will see actual sparks coming from your car. It will not give you a boost, but turning is very precise, it's very tight. So you can actually play the game without drifting. I tried Bowser's Castle, which is one of the most tight turning tracks in the game, with all these corners and stuff, and you can fall off. I said, okay, I'll play a lap without drifting, mainly the tight turns. You can just use the analog stick. It feels like you're playing in automatic mode in Mario Kart Wii, to be honest. It feels like drifting is for quote-unquote experienced players, people that really want to take advantage of it, and if they take advantage of it, they get a reward, the mini boost. But the controls are very good for both experienced players and casual players. It feels like everything works perfectly fine, everything goes where you want it to go. All the button layout, since you have to swap, I think the C button is very useful in that sense. You got Y and X for item throwing, it depends on what button you feel more comfortable with. Personally I use Y because it's right above the A button, obviously use A to accelerate. Each trigger can be used for drifting, just like in Melee you can shield with any of the triggers. So I think that's they managed to get control tight. They managed to get very good controls, and it feels very good to say that after experiencing Super Circuit, because that was a D-pad game, which I get why, obviously, it's not to shit on Super Circuit, but the analog stick does help a lot here, and the control is very tight. If you want to turn left, you will turn left. It will not be like a broad turn or just straight into a wall. No, the further you hold the analog stick, the harder you will turn. And if that's not enough for you, you can always drift. Drift, actually, in 64, you might remember I mentioned there's a hop, and then you go into a broad drift. Here, you start to drift as soon as you press the trigger. As soon as you press the trigger, your back character will pull down, and you will start to drift. There will be no hop, no nothing. You just start drifting, which causes this little phenomenon called snaking. Now, this is more prominent in DS, but you can do it in Double Dash. So the way snaking works is you keep drifting left and right, as I mentioned before. But since you don't have to hop, you can do it instantly after a drift, so you can keep drifting instantly. Obviously you will get more speed. I actually think I managed to do it in a few moments. You'll get a good boost of speed. But the idea of not having the hop is a bit odd in retrospect. It's not a bad thing, obviously, but this is the only game that will do that, I think. I don't remember if 7 and 8 do it this way, but I know DS and Wii don't, and 64 obviously didn't, and Super Circuit didn't either. So I think this is the only game to do it instantly instead of having the hop, which felt a bit odd. But it's not about design, it was just muscle memory fighting me. I was like, oh shit, I'm already drifting, oh my god. But the drifting is very good, very rewarding, not difficult to do at all. And the funny thing is, it's not needed. It's an optional, harder mechanic that will bring you a better reward. You should be drifting to get more speed. But if you feel intimidated by drifting, if you feel like drifting is not for you, you can just use the analog stick and still play the game just fine. Again, both casual and more experienced people can play this. This is lovely, the controls are really good in this game. I'm happy to say that, I don't have any complaints at all with these controls. In the previous games I praised them, but I also had something to say. Here, no. They got it. I don't have anything bad to say about these controls. I wonder if that will happen in the future Mario Karts. I honestly don't remember. I do have my question about one of them, but they also have a lot of controller options in that game, so... oh boy, we got a good one. But for now, be very comfortable, the GameCube controller will support you no matter what. I know you have not been seeing multiplayer footage in this game, and I promise, maybe someday, I will get someone to play with me. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But multiplayer in this game is actually very interesting as well. So you can have your typical 2-player, each player in their own car. But since there are also 2 characters per car, you can actually play both in the same car. You can actually team up. Now it's a bit limiting, because obviously one of you will be driving until they decide to switch, so your partner can drive. But while one of you are driving, the other one will just be there, holding and throwing items if you get any. If you don't, then you're not doing anything. So I always recommend just play each one in their own car. But the funny thing is, since there are 16 people technically, if you manage to get a LAN connection and you get GameCubes, I believe it is 2 GameCubes, you can actually play 4-player split screen in 2 TVs, which means you got 8 people playing the game. But if you want to go insane, you get 4 GameCubes, 4 TVs, and you got 16 people playing. Some of them, obviously, they will be just item bitch, but you can have 16 people playing. This was before online. So that's very impressive for the time. I love that. Obviously, I never got to experience it. I never had a GameCube. I touched a GameCube once in my real life. So, yeah. I think that's very cool. I think that's awesome. I love that. I love those little details. I don't know if anyone out there has done it. Please let me know. I would love to hear about that. Now, some people prefer battle mode over actual Mario Kart, which is perfectly fine. Battle mode is awesome. So I think you'll be very fond of this battle mode. Battle mode here is expanded on from 64 and Super Circuit. Obviously, Super and Super Circuit did have battle mode, but given their limited technology, they felt a bit limited. 64 people still think that's the best battle mode, and honestly can't blame them. It's a very good battle mode. So happy to say this battle mode is that, but there's more to do. So you get your tracks are very good here. You can fight on a GameCube, which I think is always really... I love when Mario Kart is like, yeah, you can play on the console itself. I love that. That's always very cool. Then you have 3 modes. You have your classic, good old balloon fight. That's always lovely. The 2 character dynamic doesn't really affect much here. It's just you can hit more people. That's it. Then you have shine hunting, which obviously the GameCube, obviously sunshine, obviously, oh, shines, oh god. So yeah, this game mode is basically you get the shine, but whenever if you have the shine and you get hit, you will lose the shine and then someone else has it. It's like a hot potato game in a way. Instead of getting rid of the potato though, you do want to have the hot potato. It's kind of odd. It's like, I guess you can call it capture the flag or domination, I guess. But yeah, the longer you... Oh no, sorry, it's not the longer you hold the shine, it's whoever has the shine last wins. So you can just choke the entire game and win in the last 5 seconds. I love games like that. So fair and fun and totally not rage-inducing. Finally, the funniest one in my opinion. I always will prefer balloon fight, but I think this one is funnier. You will have bomb mode. I don't know how you call it actually, but I like to call it bomb mode. So basically you have to hit the other player only with bombs. Every single item box will give you a bomb. I love that. It's so bullshit. So yeah, you're just throwing bombs around all over the place until the other player dies. I love that. It's so funny. Obviously I mentioned before how Mario Kart does have unlockables. For example, Super Circuit's entirety of Super Mario Kart was an unlockable in that game. And here you do have unlockables as well. First off, like the most obvious one that I mentioned already is the Toad pair and P.T. Piran and Kimbu. But then you also have to unlock Special Cup through playing just the other 3 cups, that's alright. But then you also unlock All-Star Cup, which is basically playing the 16 tracks in the game all in a row. Even if you already obviously won through a lot of point difference, you have to play them all straight up. There's no change of character, no nothing, just play them all. That's how you unlock the... Hold on, I have it right here. Mirror mode. So, mirror mode is like the new name they put for extra mode in Mario Kart 64. You remember how I mentioned the extra mode is actually mirror mode? Well, there you go. So 50cc playing through all 4 cups unlocks different carts. Playing through 100cc in all cups unlock 2 cars, special cup, and Toad and Toadette with the Toad cart. Playing every cup in 150cc unlocks Luigi's Mansion in battle mode, 2 more carts, and All Cup Tour. While playing All Cup Tour, you unlock Mirror Mode. All Cup Tour and Mirror Mode are only 150cc things. They don't happen in 50cc or 100cc. Then when you play Mirror Mode, you play through everything. You unlock the Toadette Kart, Tilt-A-Kart, which is a battle mode stage. Through the Mirror Mode Star Cup, it's when you actually unlock Petey Piranha and King Boo, so that's very late in the game. And then the Special Cup gives you another card, and the All Cup Tour gives you the best card in the game, which is actually golden. So there you go. You have a lot to do. It's not a big deal compared to a certain other Mario Kart game we'll talk about. Because you're just playing through the game here. Like, it's just, oh yeah, let me try different speeds, let me play through all the cups here, okay, there you go. And you do get new cards, so it's like, oh, let's give this card a try in this cup. So you do get an excuse to unlock all things. It does sound like a lot, but when you're actually playing the game, it doesn't feel like much. So don't worry about that if you feel intimidated or something. It's like, no, not really. Like, you actually can just unlock everything through just playing the game normally. I think, obviously, Mario Kart shouldn't be a grind fest. But just, they're basically saying, oh yeah, if you play the whole game, which is just racing different speeds, you're good. They're not asking you for insane time trial modes or, oh, hit 50 balloons in battle mode in 1 minute or anything like that, right? So, battle mode and time trials are just there for optional content. The main content is what unlocks everything else, which I think is good. I think it's a good way of managing that. If you don't like it, just use cheats. I think I can get away with saying that. Almost 20 years since the game released, I can get away saying, yeah, just use cheats in Dolphin. Mario Kart Double Dash. I do feel like I said a lot, even though if the time code of the video might look like, oh, he actually didn't say much. No, I feel like I said everything I had to say about the game. I'm very satisfied with what I said, so I think this is a good place to end it up saying this game is fantastic. If you really like modern Mario Kart, this is the game that you should be thinking. Even if this game is the most unique, maybe the hardest Mario Kart game out there. This game is very unique just because of the 2-partner mechanic. Like, there's a lot more that makes it unique, but there are things from this game we have seen return. But the special items and 2 partners, we have not seen that return. So I think this game has a lot of value. If I can recommend any of the Mario Kart games for you to go back to, is this one. So far, this one. You should absolutely go back to this one. I prefer 64, just because of nostalgia, but if I am please begging you to go to one of the older Mario Karts, it's this one. Please give it a shot. It's not hard. I know Nintendo has never released, but Dolphin is not hard to use. It's very simple to use Dolphin now. So I encourage you to go out there and try Dolphin. Items are a bit lackluster, and maybe sometimes you will think the game is a bit unbalanced. But no, the game is incredible. So please give it a shot. One of the best Mario Karts out there. So please, if you can, give it a shot. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. I promise it will be sooner than Wave 3 of Mario Kart 8 DLC. But yeah, thank you very much, you guys. Take care, and I appreciate you for being here. Goodbye. Oh, Bowser Shell!
Yep, I got stuck on a corner.
I love how Bowser Jr. is so short that when he's supposed to fall off the car, he just hangs in there. He doesn't even touch the ground. You're a piece of shit.
Let's go!
Oh my god, you're a piece of shit.
Waluigi time.